Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Andrews, aka the All-American Driver. Now, believe you me, I have been trying to show you guys this truck for months, but unfortunately, Mother Nature had a different plan.
Helene, just a powerhouse of a system.
Hurricane Helene. Helene is a hurricane and expected to get stronger.
Helene is on the move right now.
It's already a very massive storm and it's only growing.
So there I was, just minding my own business, when Hurricane Helene decided to drop my neighbor's 70-foot tree right on top of my new Rivian. Now, I want this to be very clear, okay? This could have been a lot worse. There are people who died during the hurricane. There are people who lost their entire homes. I did not get it real bad, okay? But you and me, we're car people, you know, so you guys could understand, you spend $55,000 on a truck, and then like a month after, a tree falls on it. So slightly annoying, not the end of the world. Obviously, I have insurance. My neighbor might actually help out with the deductible and things like that, although they're not legally responsible to. It could have been worse, but it happened. Now you guys can see the front of my truck took the brunt of the damage. I mean, there was a really massive tree trunk that landed right here. It also dented the hood on top. I mean, this panel gap is all jacked up. So thankfully, even with this damage, the hood will still open. That was actually my biggest concern because this whole thing is actually dented pretty bad. And that's not the only damage. Now, if you'll notice, all along the bedside are little dents, and they go all the way down. Even the gear tunnel has a little dent on it. Yeah, the camera can't pick those up too well, but let's just say the whole side of this truck was covered with a tree. Okay, so you guys can see we've got the truck here now, and the truck was parked over here. So we had the Jeep under the carport, and the truck was kind of parked like this, because I was a little bit worried about that tree coming over. And so the truck was like right here, and you can see my neighbor had a really, really tall tree that just completely collapsed. And left just a path of destruction ending on my truck. I mean, this was all a fence right here, like a nice wood panel fence. You can see completely collapsed their porch, took out some of their roof up here. All this screened in porch is now gone, just like that. Now you guys know before this I had two Ford Raptors, I had a Tesla Model Y Performance, I've had all sorts of things, and to be honest, the Rivian actually is like a combination of everything. And for the most part, I really, really like it. However, there is a problem with it. The tonneau cover won't open. So the bed is pretty much useless. Although I have been using the built-in air compressor and the built-in power outlets. Now, luckily, I'm not the only person with this tonneau cover problem. In fact, Rivian, on the first generation of these trucks, they actually stopped putting that powered tonneau cover on the truck because so many people were having problems. And for a little while, you couldn't even buy the truck with one of the covers. However, now they have a new generation tonneau cover, and I'm actually going down there in 2 days to Orlando, and they're gonna put the new one in for me. So I've had this truck for about 3 months, and what do I think about it? Well, I really, really like it. This truck is actually pretty much perfect for me. Now, does that mean it's a perfect vehicle? Absolutely not. You know, compared to a Tesla, I mean, the technology and the way that this thing drives is nowhere near as good as the Tesla. And it doesn't pain me to say that because I actually like Tesla. I didn't want a Cybertruck, and the functionality of this is just incredible, right? You got the air suspension, the ride is really, really nice. It's really fast. I mean, this is the quad motor. I think it's 835 horsepower, and it's fast. All right, so I've got it in sport mode. Just check this out, right? If we're just doing like a little roll, watch this. It's fast. I would argue to say that it was faster than my Tesla Model Y Performance, which is a much smaller and much lighter vehicle. However, the way that this accelerates compared to the Tesla is a lot different. This thing, it has a power curve to it. If I just mash on the gas, it's like woo, woo. The Tesla was just like woo, woo. I could do that. If I stomp on the gas on the accelerator pedal, it like takes a second for it to like ramp into the full speed. And that's probably because this is a heavier vehicle. There's air suspension. Rivian probably doesn't want all the wear and tear of just 835 instant torque horsepowers to slamming on the suspension and the car, you know. But it is noticeable. And I was actually kind of surprised, even on the most aggressive sports setting, there still is a delay from when you hit the pedal and it just ramps on power. Now, it's got a lot of power, and when it picks up, I mean, this thing will turn your stomach. But it is a little bit different than the Tesla. So a couple other things that we deal with in these EVs, especially these kind of bespoke companies like Tesla and Rivian, is that, again, there's no CarPlay, Apple CarPlay. And so text message integration is not good. The connection with Spotify is not good. If you listen to something on the truck, it doesn't register that you listen to it on your phone. And so that can be kind of confusing. So unfortunately, there's no Apple CarPlay. I don't think Apple CarPlay is ever coming to the Rivian. It's just something you have to get used to, and it's fine. I wish it was there. Now, the infotainment system here, the screen, everything like that is really good. You know, obviously being an EV, you get a lot of the over-the-air updates, which I really, really like. You know, since I've owned this truck, I've had kind of two really cool, actually three really cool over-the-air updates. The first, you know, brought that when I hit the turn signal, that side camera comes on the screen. That wasn't there when I first bought the truck, so that's cool. The second one that was cool is now I can use the app on my phone and I can view all the cameras no matter where I'm at or where the truck is at. So if I'm at work and I want to see the cameras on the truck, I can view those in live real time, which is actually really cool. I like that feature a lot. And then the last one that I actually didn't know I wanted, but I do know that I want now is, you know, this truck, when I got it, obviously has 2-zone climate controls, right? You've got, the driver's side can have it hot, the passenger side can have it cold. Cool. Now, as of just a couple weeks ago, now the back row has its own climate control. So now this truck is 3 zones, which is actually kind of beneficial, because I got the car seat back here, and when Sage is riding, I might want to have it pretty cold up here, but I don't want like to freeze my kid out, so I can have it like 72 degrees back there and like 66 degrees up here, or maybe even a little bit more. And if my wife's here or someone's in the passenger seat, they can even have their own temperature, which is actually really cool. I didn't know that it was possible to do 3 zone climate control, but Rivian, they just put that in an app. So that's just like one of the things, and I know it's just going to keep getting better and better and better via these over-the-air updates. Now, obviously, this truck has just so much off-road capability. I have done 0 off-roading in this, besides this little trail thing. This is my daily driver, 100% for sure. But you see videos online of people doing all sorts of things with it, and which is just awesome to know that the capability is there. The way that they're able to control like all 4 motors separately to torque vector and fine traction and the ride height adjustability and things like that is just an engineering marvel. I was talking to one of my buddies the other day, and I was like, man, this truck is like over engineered. And, Rivian had to do that with their this is the launch edition. They had to just come out of the gate swinging, and they really did. For the most part, this truck is really good. It drives good. It rides fantastic. This is the large battery. This thing gets way better range than my Tesla Model Y Performance. I think that battery is smaller, and it was maybe a little bit older. That car didn't have too many miles on it either. But this thing, I'm only charging it like every other week, where with the Tesla, I was having to charge it pretty much every week. I'm not like hating on the Tesla. I actually really like those cars. But this is better. So I showed you guys the damage from when Hurricane Helene dropped the tree on my truck. And if you just kind of glance at it, you'd think, that's really not that much damage. Maybe a couple $1,000s or so, right, to repair that. A couple big dents, maybe got to buff it out. Maybe something's got to be repainted a little bit exactly. It's probably a few $1,000s. You would be wrong. And let me tell you, I actually sent some photos to the only authorized Rivian collision center in Jacksonville, and they gave me an estimate. You guys want to guess? Take a guess. You'll never guess. You'll never guess. Almost $17,000. And to be honest, that doesn't even cover everything. You couldn't see all the damage from just the photos, but the estimate, $17,000. And so you guys know you guys might not know, the rear bed portion of the truck is not like separate from like the main shell of the truck. It's like one giant piece, and that rear section has to come off. If that needs to come off, I think the bed needs to be disassembled. I think a lot of the trim, maybe even the glass, needs to come out to get that panel off, to paint it properly so Rivian can warranty it. And don't get me started on the front. I mean, I think it's a new fender for sure. I think that dent, I don't think they can repair it being where it's at. The hood, maybe not. If you pull the emblem off, I think you got to put a new one on. All sorts of things. The estimate was very detailed, and I kind of trust the guy, but over $17,000. So again, thankfully I have insurance, comprehensive insurance or whatever that kind of covers things like this. I got to pay deductible or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's a truck, okay? And I don't mind. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I didn't want my brand new truck to just have a big old dent on the front of it, right? So I'm gonna get it fixed. If it was just a little scratch or whatever, I'd probably just let it ride. But because it is such a big dent and I do care about the vehicle, I am going to fix it.